Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Alicia. Today I'm going to do an Ask Me Anything, and I so appreciate the people who ask me a question. I am super excited for some of these questions, and I will say I have not really prepared at all. At the time when you put the question up, I kind of thought about it, but I don't have any prepared answers. I'm not sure whether that's good or bad. I think I'm also going to end this with kind of a behind the scenes of my YouTube channel. If I end up doing that, I will have timestamps down below if you're here for one or the other. But I am going to start with the Ask Me Anything. I love seeing people do that and get all the questions. So if you see me on my phone, it is just to be looking at the questions. And they're really not in any particular order for the most part. The first one I got was, what grade do I teach? And I teach junior high. So I started off in high school and now I teach at junior high. For years and years, I only taught 7th grade, and now I teach both 7th and 8th. I get lots of people telling me I'm crazy. They can't even imagine doing that job. Honestly, I really love that age. I think it's fun. I don't know. Something to me about the junior high age is fun. High school is okay, but they're not as fun. They're more matter of fact, get down to business. So I teach junior high. And then the next question was, do I have kids? Yes, I do. I have one daughter. Her name is Cora. And let me see. This is, I don't know how well it's going to come off. But that is Cora. She just started playing soccer. So one daughter, and it's honestly the best thing I've ever done. I, for years and years and years, absolutely did not want kids. Never going to have kids ever. I don't know what caused that. I babysat. I was the oldest out of the cousins, so I babysat them a lot. I don't know whether it's that, but I knew for a long time I never wanted kids. My husband was in agreement. We didn't want kids. I would say around 30-ish, we started getting the inkling that maybe we would want children. I don't even think that even fully solidified until 33 or 34. And I didn't get pregnant until 35. And I delivered at almost 36. So it took us a long time. But anyway, best decision I've ever done. I love being a mom. Anywho. Married. Am I married? And then a question was, how long? Yes. I've known my husband now, I think 26 years. We've been married 17 years. So yes, married and for 17 years. Favorite color, lavender, but I'll take any shade of purple. My wedding was lavender, so I definitely love the lavender family, but honestly, any purple, I love purple. And I just love color in general, so I often have the kids make posters, like, you know, of whatever topic we're doing, and I make them add color. So I just love color. I was that person who organized their crayon box by color. So I love color in general, but purple is my favorite. Favorite holiday. So I love holidays. I don't know. My mom made them so fun. I like making them fun for Cora. I don't know if I have a favorite, but October is kind of, you know, the first holiday in a long while. And it's like one where we decorate for. So Halloween is up there. Mainly because it's the first one of the season and where we decorate and we go all out. I mean, we go to the pumpkin patch. I don't know. We just do it all. And so I love Halloween, but I also love Christmas. And again, we decorate, go do special things. And I also love Easter. Those are the 3 big holidays where we go all out. And I would say Easter less. There's less of activities wise for Easter. But I love all holidays. And so I don't know if I have a favorite. I think, again, Halloween has a special place because it's the first one of the season. But honestly, I've loved holidays for years. Or my whole life, anyway. And then now we start mostly the real interesting ones. What would I tell myself before starting a YouTube channel? And that one's an interesting one. I think I would tell myself to just relax. Don't worry so much about growth, but I don't know, because I started this for fun. Probably between 5 and 6 years ago, I deleted, for some reason when I first started, I would delete videos after like 3 months or something. I don't know what I was thinking. So I think the oldest video you can find is 2018, but but I know I started a little bit prior to that. And so I'm not sure. This has been fairly an easy process for me. I just did it for fun. I really didn't have expectations. I've exceeded my expectations, to be honest. So I think I would just tell myself to relax, enjoy, and have fun. And don't let like things bother me. So I'm not sure if that's very insightful, but for the most part, it's just been an easy kind of fun journey. And so I think I would just tell myself to relax and don't worry so much. Another question is, what did I used to worry about that seems silly now? Honestly, I feel like having my daughter kind of settled me. I feel a lot more clarity on just life. Like you can tell what's important, what's not important. One of the things from a long time ago that I really worried about was dating. And this was, I'm talking like I was an 8th grader, like junior higher, 9th grader, whatever. I was for sure, I don't know why I got this into my mind. I was a little chunky, maybe that's it, I don't know. But I was fairly certain I was never going to date and never find anybody to marry. And I think, I mean, going back, I wish I could tell myself to calm down. It's going to be fine. I had a serious boyfriend in high school. Now, I haven't dated a lot of people, but, you know, I had a couple relationships before my husband. And so that was something that I should not have worried about. That I don't know. I don't know. I felt it at my core for whatever reason that I just was never going to find somebody. That's one of them. And another one is when I moved to California from Indiana. Orange County here is a lot more, I don't know how to describe it, but everybody had a Coach bag or a Dooney and Burke, and everybody seems prettier in California. Like they dress fancier, and that's not everybody, and of course not across the board, but Orange County specifically, I feel like has a higher level of that. And especially at the school where I work, everybody looks nice. A lot of people carry designer bags. So I felt pressure to fit in. And that's something where I wish I would have just ignored. Not that it was really good or bad, but not have felt that pressure. And at this point, I feel no pressure for any of that. And then one thing that I do, and I still tend to do, is I can relive past events like they happened, and I cringe. They're mostly cringeworthy things, and they can be from when I was a kid to when I was an adult to like a year ago or whatever. I wish I could stop that, like reliving these cringeworthy events. I wish I could get over that. Another interesting question is, do I have trolls and how do I handle it? So I assume they mean by trolls like the mean people. Again, I feel so lucky that for the most part, people are really nice to me. And I don't know whether it's because I'm a small channel. I don't know whether I come off as, I don't know, down to earth. I mean, I really don't know. But honestly, for the most part, I have been very lucky. Now, early on, I had a lady who just constantly was negative. I feel like rude. Honestly, I blocked her. And so that's really how I handle it. And I don't think I've had to block anybody since her. But she was just constantly always negative. I don't even know. It wasn't constructive criticism. It wasn't any of that. And I blocked her. And it's better for my health. Because that was one of those things where what would I tell myself before I started my channel is to ignore those people. And since then, I've had a couple people who have kind of been on the negative side, but it's kind of stopped or hasn't really kept on. So honestly, if I had another one of those people that was being really rude, one time, whatever, I would probably just delete the comment if I'm being honest. But if it's a repetitive, I would block them. I just don't need that in my life. And they don't have to watch my channel. So thankfully, I don't know what the reason, because I'm small, I haven't had to deal with that. But like I said, I would just to block them. I just don't have time for that. And I don't want the negativity. What's my favorite box to unbox? I would say clothing. I really love the clothing boxes. I love the trying on. I love you guys giving me feedback. So I really like clothing as probably my favorite. I also really love bath boxes, but I don't do them very much anymore just because they're so expensive and I can buy bath stuff cheaper. I'd rather have money for the clothes versus the bath stuff. So I really like bath boxes too. But I think clothing boxes are my favorite. What took me from Indiana? So I grew up in Indiana. I spent about 25 or 26 years there. My husband's job. So he was born in San Diego and then he moved to Indiana. So we met in Indiana and this is just where he got his first job. And honestly, I always thought I would move back. And I feel like my heart is somewhere in the Midwest, maybe not quite Indiana, but I would live in Tennessee or North Carolina. But we're just so conservative. We have good jobs. And so it just seems silly to just randomly pack up. And at this point, I wouldn't move to a Tennessee or North Carolina because I know nobody. I don't know anybody there. So I feel like Indiana would be the only place. Maybe Minnesota because my best friend lives there and her parents are like second parents. But my husband is like absolutely not with the winters. And I kind of think that maybe the winters in Minnesota would be too much for me. But his job ultimately moved me here. And then there was a question, what do I like to read? Primarily romance, if I'm going to be honest. Every now and then I have a different kind of book and I end up liking them, but often romance. I love historical, especially historical romance. So honestly, mostly romance. But I've read Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter. I read the Twilight series. I really liked that. So I've read other things, not that the Twilight's not romance. But honestly, mostly I read romance. What occupation would I be if I wasn't a teacher? So I started out originally in college. I have a biology degree. I wanted to be a wildlife biologist at a national park or a wildlife refuge. And I did internships for that. So those were some of my best memories. I was doing the internships for that. But nobody tells you when you go to college that a wildlife biologist, number one, doesn't make much. Number two, it's hard to find a permanent job at a national park. Everybody wants that. And they often do seasonal. So you're like spring through fall and then they lay you off. And so my dad was kind of like, you know, I can't support you while you find a permanent job. And honestly, I had one person I went to school with that just recently in like the last 5 years found a permanent job. And we're in our 40s. So honestly, I love teaching. I can't imagine doing anything else. But originally I wanted to be originally a zoologist at a zoo. And then I changed that to a wildlife biologist. But that's what I would be, I think. But honestly, I love hiking. I'd rather have that as my hobby than to be in nature for my job. Anyway, I love teaching. So I think I'm where I'm supposed to be. And then this last one I really liked. How would I react if one of my students saw me on YouTube and then I went viral? I would die inside. Honestly, about 2 years ago or so, a couple of my friends at work figured out that I have a YouTube channel. And they were going to talk about it in one of our science meetings. And I think I freaked out would be the right word. I don't even know, like, almost nobody knows that I know that I even do this channel. My husband, my best friend in Minnesota, and those coworkers, and that is it. I don't know. I just don't tell people, and I don't know why. I almost feel like people in Indiana wouldn't understand. I think they would think it's a colossal waste of money. I don't know. Not that I buy these things for YouTube, but I think I would die of embarrassment for some reason, even though there's nothing to be embarrassed about. So I don't know. Yeah, so I think maybe people in my life don't watch YouTube or don't, do Stitch Fix or things like that. I'm not sure. So I think I would die of embarrassment if one of my students saw my YouTube. I don't know whether that would be good, bad, or ugly. But so far, it has never happened. And like I said, I've had my YouTube channel for 5 to 6 years. So fingers crossed, I keep under the radar. And nobody figures that out. Anyway, I really appreciate those of you who asked these questions. It was super fun. And now I'm going to do a little background or like a behind the scenes of my YouTube. All right, so I predominantly film in our master because it has a big window, so it has really good lighting. Occasionally, I film in the kitchen, but pretty much if I'm in anywhere else, there's not enough light. So this is what it looks like, my little corner of the master. I have a very small ring light, and this is my setup. When I first started, I just did it on my iPhone, and I would hold it up to show the clothes, and then I would put it in the mirror. And then I evolved where I got a little cheap, like a phone iPod, not iPod, tripod. And then my phone was having so many problems. I would have so many people complain about the noise or just the sound. So then my husband is a photographer by hobby. And I started using one of his older cameras, but it was just so finicky. Like I would have problems focusing and whatnot. I was lucky enough this last year or two during COVID that we were getting extra money for doing COVID like related assignments. So I was able to buy a nice camera and a nice lens. So this is my setup currently. And I've had this nicer tripod for a while. All right, so you just saw my little corner, and this is primarily where I film. And I have it set up so this little table tucks away. I put away my ring light. So you really couldn't tell this is a filming spot in our master. The only other place that has good lighting is the kitchen. But let's talk about a little bit like how I decide what to film. I won't say that I've never done things just for YouTube, but for the most part, I only get boxes I want. Back in the day, I am guilty of getting things for, because I think, it would go well. But in general, I'm just getting boxes I want. I have no interest in, or I can't really afford either, but I have no interest in just getting 1,000 boxes that I'm not really interested in. That's why I kind of have the same boxes every month, because it's boxes I want with things I use. So honestly, that's kind of how I get the content. Some of these ones, like tips to save money, decluttering, it just kind of when the mood strikes, I get these ideas and I make them. I would love to know if there's anything you would be interested in seeing, but for the most part, I just make what interests me. Although I have been guilty of my late night shopping when I can't sleep. That's often when I buy things more for my channel than really for me. But anyway, at this point, I would say for the last year or two, I'm really just doing things because I want them. And honestly, this is just a fun hobby. And I can't believe at the moment I have 890 subscribers. I never thought I would get there. I'm almost to 900. At the beginning of this year, my goal was just to get to 800. So I've exceeded that, but I don't go out of my way to try. I just, I'm getting what I get and I'm very excited. It's just a fun hobby and I enjoy the interactions with you guys. I enjoy, sorry, something in my throat. I enjoy the comments, the kind of the camaraderie and a couple, over the years kind of having friendships. And so for me, it's just really something fun to do. And I try to make it as easy as possible. So I am not a person that retakes and retakes and retakes. I really have zero editing skills. So the couple videos where I've done like pictures of decluttering, that's really hard for me. And I really don't know how they come out because I'm not an editor. So like when I unbox something, I unbox it all the way. The only reason I pause is if my daughter occasionally comes in. Otherwise, I film in one shot. I don't, like if I'm doing the try on for Stitch Fix, I don't refilm and refilm and refilm. It's a one and done. So I do as easy as possible, as short as possible. So there's almost zero editing, or really in reality, zero editing, besides putting in the different clips from like try-ons, because you have to like pause between outfits so you can try them on. But I just keep it as easy as possible. And so I don't worry. I just kind of film it and it is what it is. If it's a good one, it's a good one. If it's a bad one, it's a bad one. You're seeing me as me. I don't. And luckily I don't mess up all the time that much. It just seems maybe because I'm a teacher and I talk a lot in front of people, but I just kind of go for it. Anyway, so that's just a little bit of behind the scenes. I hope you have a great day and I will talk to you soon.